December watch sales. This is interesting because A, it was a little bit better than previous months, but B, I think it was a little bit of a saccharine sweetness.
Sure.
Josh, what's December like for the watch industry in terms of sales generally?
Normally it's gangbusters. Like we go, balls to the wall. Like it was good for us. A lot of business. We ended it strong, and so normally it's really, really strong.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's strong for everyone. Pre-owned, new, gray market, all of that does well in December. So when the FH, which is the Fédération Horlogère, it keeps the statistics for the Swiss watch industry and releases them each month, it tried to put a brave face on December 2016 and said, well, sales were only down 4.6%. Well, that's great, but the problem is there were double-digit declines across some important markets like Hong Kong, for instance, took a beating. Singapore was on the cusp of double-digit declines. Also important, UK market, weak, did not do well.
Yeah. Well, Brexit didn't help that, of course, and now with the pound is almost at parity with the dollar.
Yeah.
So I think world markets are having a lot to do with these things. So it's not just poor management from the brand standpoint.
No,
so let's take some of the pressure off them. But listen, just like anything else, you have to play in the market, so you have to adjust. And I feel like that's one thing a lot of brands haven't always been able to do, or they haven't even been thinking that way. They're kind of in the old world where, listen, we do what we do and we'll stick to what we're doing, when the business of watches is really, really important. That's why Rolex and Patek are king.
Now here's the other problem. A lot of the growth that bolstered the Swiss watch sales that month came from two categories that can't really be considered material to the luxury watch sector. Starting with material, cases other than metal. So that's not gold, that's not platinum, that's not even steel, tantalum, or titanium. That's like plastic watches.
Yeah, that's right.
And believe me, I'm not talking about Audemars Piguet, Royal Oak Perpetuals, and ceramic here, because by far the biggest growth was in the price class from 200 to 500 Swiss francs, underpinning that better sales month the industry had. So I dare say we're talking a price point even below 7 Friday. We're talking like
Swatch.
there are some Swatch products that sell in that range, like metal-cased Swatch products, but we're talking about plastic here. So we're talking about very entry-level watches, maybe even a lot of quartz watches with plastic cases, the kind of watch that Fossil sells.
Right.
Maybe Tissot has some watches in that price range.
Right.
But the bottom line is that this is not growth in the luxury sector, and it's ephemeral. It's going to pass after the month. I will say the strong markets, mainland China, the Chinese yuan is rising robustly. Like double-digit growth in mainland China.
Good.
Double-digit growth in the United States, and a little bit of strength in Japan.
Cool. That's good to see.
What do you think about the strengthening Chinese currency? I mean, their central bank is fighting it because they're drawing down their dollar reserves.
Right, and that's one thing that they've been doing for a long time, devaluing their own currency, so it's to make exports stronger. And obviously, politically, there's some people who are obviously trying to change those things. I mean, I think that if they want to be the world superpower in regards to like exports, which they have been for the last 20 years or so.
And the growth has been unsustainable.
Right, of course, and that there's a whole other cultural thing in that in regards to having to show growth and everything. But their economy seems to be transitioning. There's a lot of people who want to be more middle class and not have to work factory jobs. I know when I lived there, there were some factory jobs that are paying more than desk jobs, but the idea was we'd rather not work in a factory, so we'll take less to work at a desk. So the idea, the culture is starting to change a little bit. So you're going to see over the next 20 years that to even change more. But what it should do is it's going to, because consumerism is really picking up in China, obviously, as things open up more and more and more, and they're like having. I know that in Shanghai, I had a friend who told me that they opened up basically free speech zone in Shanghai, which is it's a big step there. So as consumerism takes over, you're going to see a lot of those watches being people are going to be looking to spend their money, their hard-earned money, on luxury goods, which has always been a big thing in China, and you're going to see more and more buyers, in my opinion.
Also worth mentioning. Manuel Emk of RJ Romain Jerome stepped down after 7 years, so casualties across the range. I want to focus on a best new watch that debuted in the last week. The Zenith El Primero 36,000 vibration per hour. Now, that's a line that's been going for a while, the 36K, but this is a great release because it's so elemental and it gives great value. First of all, the price is around 8,000 Swiss francs, so about 8,000 US dollars. But it's a 42 millimeter case. Basically a scratch-proof ceramized aluminum case.
Nice.
I like that. That's a
huge.
big upgrade over something like DLC.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's what Panerai calls composite. If you're looking for something similar from another brand,
505, yeah, 505.
like a 505, a 339, something like that.
Correct.
Aluminum on the inside, ceramic on the outside, impossible to scratch, also impossible to shatter. So it's a nice combo. But after a couple of years, when chronometers were kind of almost an extinct species at Zenith. After 2012, very few watches, with the exception of like the 5011Ks and a few special editions, very few were COSC certified. But they're back, and this watch is a chronometer.
Nice.
It's 42. It's a great case material and case size, and they have both the inverse Panda and the Panda dial. So you've got your silver on black dial, but then you've got your black on a silver dial. You've got the true Panda.
I'm a sucker for a Panda dial.
And it's
I
an
like the watch.
Primero.
I mean, the watch, and you said $8,600 retail price?
It's probably going to be even a little bit below that.
I mean, it's a bargain. I mean, it's a good watch. You're getting a lot for the money, even at the full retail price. And if you pick them up gray market or pre-owned, it's going to be a very good value, in my opinion. You get a lot of brands, like we talked about with Tag Heuer. Some of the brands are trying to get back to value, and so they're having to reach a little bit. They're adding more features to the watch. They're doing, things that maybe they didn't do in the past to try to capture somebody from maybe a higher market, and they're keeping the same price point. I think that's really good.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really nice, and this is a small touch that I appreciate, is that the watch is on a nice perforated natural rubber strap, but they're giving you a tie deployant buckle, not a pin buckle. Like there's been a lot of decontenting in the industry, where we've seen platinum watches on gold buckles, we've seen luxury watches with pin buckles, whereas in the past there'd been a deployant. This is a nice watch to have, and you don't feel like you're getting a junior El Primero.